About to tell Deb and Yvonne, this is a 2-part series.
It's a two-part.
We're ready to start part 2.
This is amazing. Let's do it.
Okay, we're let them know who we have on the show, but we're not going to be quite so serious this time.
Okay, we're not going to be so
You're
serious.
doing introductions real quick.
Okay, so the gentleman that's to my left is Reese Olander. He's a very fabulous, wonderful person, a co-worker and a friend, colleague, and Steve Shell, and he is also a good friend, a colleague, and a friend.
I know. So we're going to be talking about Renown, all things Renown, and all things us. We're going to get personal. Stay tuned.
In Nevada near the silver mines, there's a kind-hearted woman. She's looking so fine, always taking care of her community, bringing folks together is her cup of tea. She's out on the road and all over the web with a big smiling heart. It's about town, Deb.
And welcome to this episode, part 2 with Renown Health and the Foundation. And it's October, so it's like fall is coming, and it is. I know we do October's, as we mentioned in the first part of the show when you listened last week. It is also October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Yes. So I'm just going to throw it out there. If you haven't got a mammogram, you need to get one, because I was in California for some family stuff and I had to reschedule mine, but I didn't know when to reschedule it. So I thought I'll just find one of those mammo vans. So there's like mammo vans out there. Does Renown have a mammo van?
Nevada has a van.
Yeah. There's mammo vans.
Renown does not, but it's pretty easy to schedule one at renown.org.
Okay, because I'm just saying that since it's in November, I thought we might as well get that out there, because that's really important.
It is important.
And there's a lot of mental health issues going on. It's the awareness of mental health and depression and all that. And we want to make sure that if you're out, when you're listening out there, that we're here for you. So that's another thing we're going to talk about. But I'm going to let Yvonne introduce our guests and give them their titles, because these are pretty important guys here.
I don't think of them in terms of their titles.
But,
I don't even know what their official titles are.
I don't mean titles like that.
Because they're both so genuine and kind.
Know,
we don't have that relationship.
I know that. But if somebody's listening, they might.
But I have told people that Reese is my boss.
I know that.
And I see him as such. He's very gentle and kind about it, but he is my first line of authority.
Behave yourself. So yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is Reese Olander. He is my colleague and co-worker and friend, but he is technically my boss, a wonderful boss, very supportive, very insightful. And I love him. He's a good person. So this is Reese. And then I have Steve Shell, who's an amazing friend that I met through a friend. And then we bonded on our own. And so I'm privileged to work with both of these gentlemen every day. And they're quite lovely. And I am a very lucky girl.
Yes, you are.
This is my world.
Thank you, Yvonne. We're quite lucky as well to have you.
She's, I told her she could put on her little feisty hat today, because we were a little bit in the serious mode last week, but I'm going to perk it up.
Okay, so we're in the last quarter of the year. So it seems like a lot of things are going on in the last quarter of the year. A lot of things. So one of the things I want Reese to talk about is our annual fund. When I look at the year and I think, gosh, you hit October and it's like, wow, we're down to the last 90 days. 100 days.
Oh, don't even say that.
I know it's crazy. Halloween's right around the corner, and then Thanksgiving, then Christmas. But Reese, tell us a little bit about what Renown is doing with an annual fund program.
Sure. This year, I think more than many other years, it's, we've been coming out of a couple of years of turmoil and challenges. Nowhere has that been more apparent than in the healthcare sector. And so the Renown Health Foundation this year, we're really focusing our end of year appeals around making sure that we're getting the right equipment and supplies into the hands of our medical professionals. And that's everything from big CT scanners down to ultrasounds, down to mattresses for the hospital to make sure that patients avoid getting additional wounds while they're in the hospital. So that's where we're pushing a lot of our donor support at the end of this year to make sure that when you come into the hospital, you have the best technology possible treating you right there here in Northern Nevada.
So I think it's really interesting that you said mattresses.
Yeah.
We think about the big equipment and we think about the staff and the nurses and the doctors and all this other stuff, but there's so many it's not a little thing, but a mattress or the sheets or the chairs that your family's sitting there waiting and holding your hand.
Yeah.
There's so much that goes into running a hospital that we don't even think about all those little things, but you guys are thinking about it and trying to bridge the gap
We are.
Yeah,
with the budgets.
all of the Renown, all the dollars that Renown Health Foundation raises, 100% of that goes to the hospital, but all of it stays in the hospital. So anywhere you're at a Renown facility, that is where philanthropy is in action. So yeah, whether it's the sheets, it's the chairs, it's the ultrasound, it's the IV bags, we were supporting every aspect of that hospital.
That is so cool.
And Reese, can you tell us a little bit about how the mechanics of that works, the annual fund? How might we contact people to let them know that we're in the season of the annual fund, and how they can connect with us to make a donation?
So pretty soon, a lot of our supporters will see a letter in the mail. Some will see an email, and then you'll see us out on social media as well, Instagram, Facebook, etc., reaching out and telling you guys a little bit about how it's easy to make a contribution this year. And again, supporting that hospital wherever your heart feels the need, whether it be $1, $10, $1,000, $1 million, if you so choose. But that's coming to you, and you can always reach out to us at renown.org. And give at any time of the year. Many of our donors like to give in the May, June, July period, but others prefer to give at the end of the year. And because 100% of your gift goes to the hospital, 100% of your gift is tax deductible.
Ooh, that's a good thought
lovely
too. That you definitely want to say that. I want to thank my sponsors right now, because we need to thank them. Crystal Basin Cellars. I want to thank Welder Grille. I want to thank Kim Surratt Law Practice, and I want to say thank you to the Musicians Rehearsal Center right here in Sparks, Nevada, and Christian, the man behind the curtain, and Dee Dee James, and everybody who does a part of helping to make this happen. And number one, Yvonne, I want to thank you, because, you reached out a year ago and said, I want to be back on a podcast. And I'm like, okay.
Power to spoken word.
And she just did it, and we made it happen. So we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation. So hang tight. It's About Town Deb and Yvonne Murphy. And we're here with amazing, renowned big wigs. I call you guys big wigs. We got Reese and we got Steve here. So please stay tuned, because you're going to find out some really important information that will help you and a loved one. So hang tight. Be right back.
Now more than ever, family matters, and Surratt Law Practice has your family in mind. Kimberly Surratt and her team have been helping maintain healthy families through their holistic approach to adoption and surrogacy, child custody, estate planning, and more for over 13 years. Your family law concerns are in caring hands with Surratt Law. Schedule your private consultation with a compassionate Surratt Law Practice team member today by calling 775-636-8200 or visiting lawyersforfamilies.com. Surratt Law, where family matters.
You're enjoying this episode on Angel Phoenix Productions Podcast Network. To explore a complete lineup of quality programs and media production services, head on over to angelphoenix.com or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Angel Phoenix Productions.
She's out on the road and all over the web with a big smiling heart. It's About Town Deb.
My town, your town, or any town, this is About Town Deb presents City Talk. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back. It's About Town Deb. Debbie McCarthy with City Talk. Yvonne Murphy by my side, my host. I got her 2 times this
is amazing.
I usually get her once.
I love being here.
But I've been telling Yvonne that she is a wealth of knowledge, and she connects people. And being at the Renown Foundation, you're a connector with a heart of gold, and you know how to speak to people, let them understand how important it is. And like you said, your job is not a job.
No, it's not.
It's your family.
No. And it's just an extension of who I am. Renown gave me a platform to be Yvonne. So it is my job to connect people. But I have a genuine passion and concern for our health, and having gone through a lot of the various things that we've talked about, grief therapy and so on and so forth, cognitive behavioral therapy, I know the importance of good health. And quite frankly, Renown saved my life. So it's a big part of who I am, and I'm very proud to be part of the family.
All this mushy good stuff.
I know.
But we were talking about, October, different stuff, and the fall, and I don't even want to say the holidays are coming, but they are coming. It's almost Halloween, and then it's going to be Thanksgiving, and then it's going to be Christmas and New Year. And then we start all over again.
And it gets complicated.
And it gets complicated. As you can tell, as I'm talking faster because I'm like, I'm already stressed that it's coming. So with that said, I really think it's really important that we talk to these guys because I'm already panicking and I can't breathe now.
You just take a breath.
I'm going to take a breath. I want you to talk about the holidays and stress.
So I want to talk to Steve about that because I think about my life and I know often in my family, we regretted the holiday season because it meant all the people were going to be at the same table and all the issues. It's like a movie, right? That's going to play out on HBO.
Drama.
So talk about the end of the year and, the anticipation we have for perfect Thanksgiving dinners and perfect Christmas gifts and family members coming together that might not necessarily like each other. Talk about how mental health plays into all of that.
Great.
Because the holidays can always be a challenging time for all of us, whether it's, becoming stressed out because you're planning for the festivities or feelings of grief are resurfacing, memories from the past are resurfacing. So it can be a very challenging time for people to get through. There are some individuals that would just rather not even celebrate the holidays and just move past that period of time because it's painful for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm just going to, because this is all organic, guys, and we're keeping it real. You had just said that sometimes there's people who just don't want to celebrate the holidays. So I've had this happen before. And recently somebody just said to me, hey, you know what? I just want you to know, I don't want any part of Thanksgiving, Christmas. Just so you know, I don't want you to bug me. I don't want to know. I don't want to be invited anywhere. I'm like, but it would be, they're like, no, I have my own reasons. So when somebody says that, I respect it. I said, okay, just know you're always welcome, but I'll respect that. But, there's probably so many people out there that have had something, or you just lost a loved one and it's your first holiday.
Yeah. It's tough.
I think it's important to remember too, you never know what someone's going through. Not everyone is willing to share what they've experienced. And so that person that isn't wanting to celebrate the holidays, there could really be a reason behind that. And that person may not be willing to tell you.
And that's okay, right?
The fact that you respected that person and didn't push any harder, I think was really good. I was
trying to be a little pushy.
But I always like it when someone says to me, Yvonne, you might not want to come, but you're welcome to come. You can come spend Thanksgiving with us. You can come spend Christmas with us.
That's kind of what
it's nice to know that someone loves you enough to say, our door is open, but we respect your space if you don't want to do this. It's important.
No, I totally get that.
I think creating that welcoming environment is also key. Making someone feel comfortable. Maybe they weren't thinking about, celebrating, but now they are. So I think just making them feel, comfortable through all of that.
And have the door open.
Absolutely.
But no, you don't have to walk through the door, guys, but it's open if you want.
And let us remember at Renown, everybody didn't get to celebrate holidays. Nurses and doctors and all sorts of clinicians and housekeepers and various people, they work through the holidays to provide care and service for people who need care and service. So I'm cognizant of that now that I work at Renown. Everybody doesn't get the day off. And you need doctors and nurses and x-ray technicians and respiratory therapists to look after us. So,
and we're telling you thank you right now, guys. So we're going to stop and say thank you.
Yes,
because I know there's times when you have a loved one in the hospital and it's a holiday or any day, and they're there by your side. They're not home with their families having dinner.
No.
So really, we appreciate all your staff at every facility, every restaurant you go to where there's somebody working, and we're getting to be spoiled.
But Steve, do you find the new word is grateful? Because it seems to me if we're in a spirit of gratitude, wherever we are in our mental health journey, if you're in a spirit of gratitude, life is manageable?
That is absolutely the foundation, I believe, for recovery. Is being grateful in the moment that you are. Being grateful for what you've experienced, but also what's in front of you. And I think a lot of people aren't focused on that or don't realize that gratitude is really the key. But one thing I wanted to mention too is at Renown, we're also taking care of our employees. It's very important that our employees feel that support. So we provide support groups for all of our employees for them to come and experience some group therapy and learn about different mental health and addiction topics. But it's also key that we take care of our staff as well and our physicians.
So that's important.
I do think that's important because I think during COVID, we saw that we lost a lot of healthcare professionals and a lot of them were just stressed out. It was a lot to deal with, life and death. And so you're right. It is important for us to take care of our own family, and we do a good job at it. I was at the Renowned physician this morning, and I just walked in and said, I don't feel very good. And she set me down and she got it dialed in quickly. And the love and affection and care from my own physician at Renown was just remarkable. I mean, I walked in without an appointment and just looked at her and said, I don't feel good. no, you got a little sinus infection, but let me check you out. So, I mean, Renown does a good job, I think, of taking care of its own. And we are as committed to each other as we are to taking care of the community. So it's a good thing.
Because it's a challenge. If you're not taking care of yourself, how can you take care of others? So I think it really starts at home.
And that's
making sure we're taking care of each other.
That's a tough one, because I always have, you always tell people, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of, your loved one. But sometimes it's really hard, because if you're a giver and you want to keep giving, you tend to overgive sometimes, and then you're like, I'm out of energy. Yeah. And so I think we need to be able to say, I wish I could do that, but I can't.
And I think we have to recognize our stress, because for me, when I'm not sleeping, that's an indication that I'm heading towards trouble. Yeah. When you're laying there at night and you can't turn your head off, and I'm thinking, okay, I need a Reiki appointment. I need acupuncture, acupressure. I need yoga. I need some sort of holistic modality to calm me down, but yeah.
Or even simpler than that. I did a little research, guys, because I was trying to be prepared.
You're scaring me, child.
I know, so I don't want to get them wrong. But these are something that, I'm not good at this, okay?
Just let it rip.
So eat a regular healthy diet with lots of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean protein, and low fat dairy. Be physically active every day. I'm running around town is about town, Deb, but I'm really not I'm not doing like the extra walking, 10 minutes.
That could just be as simple as a 15-minute walk in your neighborhood.
Well, and this is even saying 10.
10,
you could even do 10.
10 would be good.
I walk around my cul-de-sac because I live in a hilly area. So even just doing that. And then it said, this is kind of what you were saying, set aside time for fun and relaxation, which could mean spending an afternoon playing outside with your kids or curling up on the couch, reading a good book. And I know you like good books.
Yes, I do like good
And then this one is really tricky. It's not really tricky, but
yeah, it is.
Did you see it?
Yeah, avoid.
Okay. Avoid alcohol and drugs. I don't do drugs, but I do have a tendency to like wine a little bit. So avoid alcohol and drugs, both of which can alter your mood and make a bad decision seem even worse. And then we'll go back to that. But stay connected with family and friends, because having a strong support team, which is what we all would love to have, is really a main set.
So I want to talk to Steve about something I saw in here, because I think I actually have this.
Okay.
Seasonal depression.
Yes.
I notice when we have less sunlight, I'm not as animated and I'm not as energetic. And we have a long winter here that's kind of gray. I'm not complaining. I love it. I've been here 42 years. But do you see some of that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that has a lot to do with it. And, like in the state of Alaska, you see a higher prevalence of depression in that state. Oh. And I think a lot of it is related to the seasons there and the lack of sunlight during part of the year. So I think that has a big, big part in it. Here in the winters, sometimes not necessarily here in Reno and Sparks, but up in Lake Tahoe and areas like that where people are shut in for the winter, that can definitely impact your mental health.
And so what are some simple things that people can do? I mean, they should eat well and drink water and, take their vitamins. But what else do you recommend for a person to just try to keep their arms wrapped around that? At what point do you need to consult a professional?
Well, I think when you feel like your life is out of control and you feel like whatever you're trying to do for yourself is just not working, if you're feeling hopeless and helpless, and, you're having moments of sadness that seem to progress to longer periods of sadness, that's a sign that you definitely need to talk to someone.
So this is my thought lately. So ever since the war in Ukraine, I realized I have so much to be grateful for. Stop complaining and be appreciative about the life that you have. There are people in this world that are literally running in terror. And this is their everyday life. And then I look at our lives. We're blessed. We have cars, friends, food, jobs. We have all these things that we take for granted. Sometimes you just need to do an assessment on yourself. What do I have to be grateful for? I have my health. I have my friends. I have a family. I have opportunity. I have a place to worship. There's people in this world that don't have that. So I think sometimes you just need to do an assessment on yourself. I don't know.
So I'm going to throw it to Reese. You've been a little quiet over here because we have.
Make it out the way.
Well, actually, a little. I'm just going to give you a quick question because it's under a minute left. So, have you ever experienced any kind of loneliness or sadness? I mean,
absolutely.
I think it's important. People see us here.
Absolutely, and I think in engaging my support group, engaging my friends and my family, and my everyone in my life to help me through that is important. But as Yvonne said, the good place to start is try to find the things you are grateful for. Because if you can identify those, latch onto that and start building from there.
Okay, well, we're grateful for this segment. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back and continue the conversation. I want to get a little personal because I want all of you to know that we are just like you and we are here for you. So it's About Town Deb with City Talk and Yvonne. We'll be right back.
We'll be back.
You're enjoying this episode on Angel Phoenix Productions Podcast Network. To explore a complete lineup of quality programs and media production services, head on over to angelphoenix.com or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Angel Phoenix Productions.
You know that's what she said. Come on, let's have some fun with About Town Deb.
My town, your town, or any town, this is About Town Deb presents City Talk. Now, back to the show.
And welcome back. We are back. Third segment.
Third segment.
Yeah, did I say third segment?
You did.
Or did I say fourth? I don't know. We're just happy.
Third.
Okay, she gave me that question look like, see, that happens. So again, we're talking about holidays and being rushed and being crazy. And sometimes you're sad, sometimes you're depressed, sometimes you're like over the top happy. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm trying to be right now. No, we're keeping it real here, and that's what we want to do.
Yes.
And we had you guys on last week, and we were a little bit more deep into conversation. But with the holidays coming, I just thought I want you guys to realize that we all struggle, and we all have good days and bad days, and that's why I got personal with Reese, and I said, "Have you ever had that feeling?" Because I think people need to know that we all do, and it's kind of part of life, right?
It's part of life, and it's important to recognize that is that we're going to go through periods of sadness. You're going to have anxiety. You're going to have stress.
Yes.
If you're not having those in your day to day life, I don't know, maybe you might be dead. But
Yeah.
Hope not.
These things are everyone is dealing with these every day, and it's when as Steve said, when you start losing control, when the things you're trying to do to address those and help with those, when those actions aren't working anymore, that's when to go seek help. And I think it's important for all of us to identify those moments in our life and go after it and help and get the self-help we need.
I'm putting Steve in the hot seat now.
Oh,
Miss, you're perky like me and you're always smiling, but I guarantee you there's days you don't feel like smiling. Has that happened to you?
absolutely.
Seriously.
And I think it happens more frequently than we're willing to admit.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we all have our own challenges that we go through. And, as I said earlier, there's a reason I've been working in this field as long as I have. And it's really kept me grounded and kept me moving forward. But yes, I have my moments when I may not be feeling as hopeful or as happy as I typically am. But I think that's where I have to, realize what's going on with myself and figure out how to get in check with everything that's going on with me.
So the word hope, that just brought up another kind of sidebar. A lot of people during the holidays and anytime they do feel hopeless, they feel like I'm alone, or they don't feel like they can give as much as they want to give, or they're financially strapped. And I feel like with the hopefulness and the financial stuff, I really have stopped doing like lots of gifts and stuff with our families. We don't focus on the gifts. I tell my boys,
So I'm not getting a Louis Vuitton wallet from you?
No, you are not.
I just thought I'd throw
Just
that out there.
throw it out there. I wouldn't even know where to get one.
Okay,
Just so
well, I
you
can
know.
help you, child. I know.
I do not know, and it's probably not in my budget. But I would cook you dinner.
Okay, I would
and
say
I don't
thank you.
cook, and I would do that for you.
Well, maybe we should make
I
reservations.
may have to.
We should make reservations.
But I know, like for Thanksgiving, what I love to do with my boys, and for Christmas. And also bring the topic up. It all goes together. If you're separated or divorced, or you're alone, and you've got kids to share custody. I mean, there's so many things.
Yeah.
Gets
that
messy.
That
It
gets
is.
messy. So I've just decided, let's take out the mess. I just say, hey, boys, because they're older, I don't care when you want to have it. You want to do breakfast, lunch, dinner. You want to do it the day before, 2 days before, a week after. I don't care. I just want to have a meal with you at home, and we're going to cook it together.
That's
And
beautiful.
that is a gift for me, to have that time. And I really think that we need to take the pressure off of money. We got to get this best gift, because honestly, or even flowers. I don't even like to give flowers because they die. I'd rather have somebody have a cup of coffee with me and sit there and actually listen.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of times, we focus too much in on like finding that perfect gift and matching that gift up to that person. I think about my son, I could give him a box or just any sort of thing and just say like, look at this thing. It's so great. And he's like, oh, this is awesome. I love this so much. And it's because I gave it to him. Yes. It wasn't like the object itself.
Yes.
He doesn't, he's got, 20 different little race cars. He doesn't need another race car, but because I gave him the thing, that was the thing that he was most excited about.
It was time with Dad.
So doesn't that remind you of when we got the Quaker Oat box and you put some rocks or something in it and you just totally into the Quaker Oat box? What did that cost you? But so that makes sense that his son would respond that way.
It's totally
so,
true.
one of the things I think about the holidays when people say, oh, I don't have any friends. Well, the best way to have friends is to be a friend.
I knew you were going to say that.
So that's the first thing. And the second thing I want to say is service. When I was young, I read a quote by Albert Schweitzer, and it talked about being of service to mankind. So a way to fill that void and to create people in your life is to be of service. Volunteer for something. There's a program for everybody. You can go out to the food bank and volunteer. You can volunteer at Renown. You can volunteer all over town. But I think if you're of service and if you want to have a friend and just be a friend, I think the holiday season will be a lot easier for you. And I know what it is to go through a holiday season with the grief and the first year that the spouse is gone and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, I find that people love me because I love them. So
totally
people
agree.
tend to give you what you give. So
I have a good story for that. A couple weeks ago, I got a phone call at work from a lady, and this was on a Tuesday. And on Friday, the previous Friday, her husband had passed away in hospice care. Renown Health had helped him in hospice and with our home health team. And she called me and she's like, I have to help you guys. You guys have done so much for me. I have to help. And in order to get through this period of my life, I have to help you. How do I volunteer? How do I donate? How can I make sure that this community that stood up for me, I can now give back to them and be a part of that community. Yeah. And I think getting involved in those situations, whether it be volunteering, helping your friends, helping your family, move some furniture, I think those things just help build that network and make us a lot happier.
Something really simple that you could do that's been done for me, and I probably have shared it before. I live in a cul-de-sac, and I'm so blessed that I have a cul-de-sac we've all been there a long time. And like you, during the last break, I'm trying to call my neighbors to open the door and let the furniture people in. Or like if you need to really seriously, we borrow a cup of sugar, like we, borrow somebody's washing machine or dryer. But my neighbor next door, Dave, he's a Vietnam veteran, amazing, him and his wife. And I should be doing this for him, but he literally takes my trash out.
My neighbor does
and
that.
He puts it in, or if he sees that the sprinklers, whatever, he'll say, hey, Deb, talk to the gardener. This is doing this. Or his wife they know I love her chili. They'll knock on the door and just give me a bowl of chili. And I'm like, because I don't cook. And he's like, but I'm just saying, it's a little thing. It is the little things. It doesn't need to be a big thing. It's as simple as knocking on your door and saying, I haven't seen you in a while. You doing okay? It's that listening, or just going next door and sitting down and just tell me what's been happening.
Yeah.
And it may take a moment, but then they start sharing.
Yesterday I was running some errands at work, and I guess we have a $5 store here. I didn't know we had a $5 store. And
I thought we only had $1.10 store now.
It's the old Pier 1 over off by
that's a
Whole
$5 store?
Mm-hmm. So it just so happens I stuck my head in and saw something that a coworker would like. And I walked in and I bought it, and I got back to the office and I gave it to her, and she said, oh, Yvonne, you're so nice. And I said, look, it's the little things that make a difference. It brought a smile to her face. It made her feel remembered and loved. It's $5. It lit up her afternoon, and I thought that's the best $5 I ever spent.
I agree.
Then she sent me an email message about how kind you are and how nice you are. But it's the little things you do for people that make a difference. And in the scheme of mental health, for example, a lot of times you're feeling down, and Reese is a good person at reading my body language. So when I'm not feeling 100%, are you okay? He always asks. It's the little thing.
What do you say?
I always tell him the truth. We have a friendship. I always tell him the truth.
She's very honest.
I'll just tell him I'm not feeling good physically, or I'm nervous about something I'm doing in my personal life. Or no, we have an understanding that we would always tell each other the truth. So when he inquires, I have a fiduciary responsibility to answer him truthfully.
I love how she just said
child,
that.
you better watch out. You know I get asked.
I know you.
No, it's that serious. But
No, I have to tell him.
But how many times?
It's accountability. It gives somebody a sense of, hey, she's not okay right now.
No, I love it. I'm getting better. I'm saying, I'm not doing good. I'm having a really crappy day.
And I inquired to my other coworkers, hey, how are you doing today? How was your weekend? How's the dog? How's mom and dad? I mean, it's just the little things that make a difference. And a little bit of kindness goes a long way.
And it's worth your time to take that time out of your day to do that.
It totally is.
Going back to mental health, it's it's important to have that honest conversation.
It is.
Like we said earlier, it all starts with that conversation.
It's asking the question and not being afraid to ask it. I think that's a lot of times I know I need to ask it, but I'm afraid to ask it. I'm not sure what am I asking it right? Am I saying it the right way?
The fact that you're asking and listening, that's the right thing.
That's the gift.
You never know the impact that act of kindness will have on someone. Right. Because again, you don't know what that person's going through.
No, I totally agree with you with that.
And it can be as simple as a hello.
Holding a door.
A smile.
I love
holding the door for an elderly person.
Doors open.
Something simple makes all difference in the world. That might be the only nice thing that happened to them that day.
That's correct.
Oh, we have a little bit of time in this. I'm going to tell you a little story about the bands. This was a really cool story.
About the band,
I ordered a lot of them, and we're giving them out to like healthcare workers. Like if they got a lunch, like with Chewy's at Midtown, they were delivering food. So I gave him these to help put in, and I was trying to think who else can I do it with. So I was sharing with it on social, and somebody saw that I had it, and they said, "That is so nice that you're trying to cheer up people." So the one gal messaged me and she said, I work at Safeway and my employees that are there are being treated so rudely. This was in the beginning of it when you can't go, you can go in and she said, I just want to let them know that they're important. And I said, sure, I'll bring, I gave her like 300 of them. And she literally said, they were almost in tears to think that somebody said, we are together in this, and just a simple blue band. And I'm just like, here, take them. That's what it's for. Yeah. But it just helped them realize that somebody who didn't even know them was worried about them and just wanted to give them something really simple to say, we are together in this. So, but that's what I mean. It doesn't need to be a lot.
I just wanted to say before we're done, we have a Renown donor, and she called me last evening. She asked my cell number, and she said she was having a hard time and she needed to vent, and I let her do that. And when I was done listening to her, she said, what am I going to do, Yvonne? And I said, now this is my vernacular. This works in my world. I said, I'm going to pray for you. And there was this long pause, and she said, I love you. Thank you.
There you go.
So I get to work this morning. What's one of my first emails? Renown Health Foundation, right? She said, the great Renown Health Foundation, she wrote. Awesome. You love me. You listen to me. You pray for me. You just never know what little simple thing you're doing that makes a difference for people. You just never know.
Okay, it's time for another break.
Okay, take a break.
We'll be right back for our final segment. It's about Town Deb and Yvonne. Be right back.
Bye.
Now more than ever, family matters, and Surratt Law Practice has your family in mind. Kimberly Surratt and her team have been helping maintain healthy families through their holistic approach to adoption and surrogacy, child custody, estate planning, and more for over 13 years. Your family law concerns are in caring hands with Surratt Law. Schedule your private consultation with a compassionate Surratt Law Practice team member today by calling 775-636-8200 or visiting lawyersforfamilies.com. Surratt Law, where family matters.
You're enjoying this episode on Angel Phoenix Productions Podcast Network. To explore a complete lineup of quality programs and media production services, head on over to angelphoenix.com or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Angel Phoenix Productions.
Ready to help from her toes to her head. Just give her a shout. Call About Town Deb.
My town, your town, or any town, this is About Town Deb presents City Talk. Now, back to the show.
And welcome back. This is our final segment of our part two. How do you say that? Final segment of our second show.
That sounds good.
Whew.
We got
Anyway, I just want to make sure we get out huge thank yous to Reese and to Steve and to you for your even though I kind of knew them and I knew Steve, it was your idea to do more with Renown and to talk about it. And I really, really, really hope that in the future, I would love to have a segment at least once a month or once per show, with just giving a little simple way you can make a difference or how you can help or places to go that you might need. Because I really feel like we're so busy with our daily lives that we don't even think about it.
Right.
I'm literally like running a rat race today. I'm by here, and I'm going to get home and probably wouldn't have ate dinner. I probably wouldn't have ate. And then I'm going to be tired. I'm going to be grumpy. And I'm going to say, I need to breathe and I need help. Who do I call? You know, I mean,
Well, you call me.
I will call you, but I feel like we all need to find that time. And I want to make sure that before this show ends, that number one, we each make sure we give our contacts and who to call when you need to call. But I also want, because you guys are doing good stuff, and you don't do good stuff without a good role model. Mm-hmm. So I would love you to share who wants to go first. Who was your role model and why did it make such a difference to where you are today?
I think it should be for our guests because I speak all the time. So Steve.
No, it's for them. I was looking at.
I could start.
Okay.
Steve is going to start.
Well, this is an easy one for me. My dear friend Ramona in Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
She was a nurse for over 50 years, also an executive in healthcare. Mm-hmm. And we came from very similar backgrounds with similar, family challenges. And she really showed me her passion for behavioral health. And I think that's what led me down that path and why I've stayed in it as long as I have. But she's probably been my most dynamic mentor. I've had a lot of great mentors through the years. I've been very fortunate to work with some really, really great people in this industry. But she's the one that stands out the most for me. Just her caring and her passion, really, really motivated me and had a huge impact on me. And again, I think it's why I've stayed in this field for 30 years now. And I hate to even say 30 years.
So what age were you when all this was happening?
I first met her when I was 24 years old.
See, I was thinking, because I feel like, there's kids are starting younger and younger getting into their fields. And 24.
And she took me under her wing. And again, it wasn't something that I set out to do with my life.
Right.
But I think because we shared similar backgrounds.
Wow.
And, I was able to understand my family challenges more, through her. I think that's what led me down this path. And that's why I'm so, passionate about it now. I do feel like it's my calling. And that's why I'm going to continue to fight and do whatever we can to get people the help that they need.
I love it. Reese, what about you?
That's a tough question, I have to say. There's been so many people in my life who
it could be two
really
people
inspired me and pushed me. As cliche as it's going to be, I'll put my mom out there first and foremost. Someone who, put my hand to paper and said, "You have to do the work," and pushed me and pulled me along and always challenged me to say, well, is this what you actually want to do? Are you making a difference in your life and your family's life and your community's life? Could you do more? Could you do more? Could you do more? And that's, she continues to push me today. And the other person I would put out there is Dr. Larry Etner. He was one of my very first professors in grad school, and really kind of opened my eyes to the world of nonprofits and the way they work and the way they give back to our communities, and the role they really have in our society. And that so much in this world does not happen without nonprofit business. And, he was somebody who just kind of pushed excellence and said, okay, well, this is how they're doing it. How can you do it better? How can you make it so that more lives are changed through the work of this organization? So
I'm going to go a little deeper.
Sure.
Younger age. What was the first fundraiser that you ever were involved in? It could,
that I participated in or ran?
No. Well, okay. Participated and ran. In what age?
Participated in probably, some school fundraiser in elementary school.
Yeah.
I went to Roy Gom when
local,
yep, just not too far away from here. So we had a bunch of little school fundraisers. And then in grad school, I got involved with a prostate cancer foundation called Movember. And did a fundraiser for them, did a pledge, fund a need during the month. And then we did a big dinner gala that I put on. And we raised, I can't even remember, maybe $10,000, $8,000, $10,000. Wasn't very much.
What about you, Steve? I can totally remember some of my first fundraisers, but I was just curious.
Well, I think the one that stands out for the most, it's related to animals, but I remember participating in fundraising when back in grade school. My parents got me in fundraising, got me involved in fundraising at an early age, but animals really stand out for me.
That's cool. I would say one of my first ones, I was in junior high school. I was the activities person, vice president or something, and I did a somersault-a-thon where you were in the gym and you pledged so many pennies or whatever it was, and we raised money for that. And then the other one, how
many somersaults did you do?
I don't know. I was young.
Are we talking like 5? Or are we talking?
Oh no, we're talking like hundreds.
Oh my God.
We're talking going around the gym and you're just somersaulting.
Well,
and that was really a fun way because nobody had done a somersault-a-thon. And then
first time I've ever heard of it.
We're going to have you do one of those.
You can do one. You don't want me. I couldn't do one now. I'd be all over the place.
That would be the senior show. Okay.
But I kind of feel like we, at a young age, and our parents are a lot to do with that. Whether it's brownies, Girl Scouts, Cub Scouts, Bluebirds, I did it all. And my parents thought that was so important that I was part of an organization that gave back. So I literally started, and I look what I'm doing now. I mean, I've always been involved with fundraising in some sense. And then I worked for St. Albert's Church. I did their golf tournaments, their wine tasting, all their.
Of course you did the wine tasting.
I did all that.
Because we in the fundraising world, we always say, and it plays out this way, philanthropy is not a learned behavior. It is a taught behavior.
Yes.
Somebody has to teach you how to be of service to your community and ways to give back, either as a volunteer or donating.
But see, I was taught by my teachers too. I don't know if they do that now, but I mean, I'm talking elementary school, junior high school, high school. I was continuously the one who organized, let's raise money. And I'm still to this day, in a sense, nonprofits are part of who I am. Yeah. And a lot of people say to me, why do you do that? I'm like, I don't know any other way. And I think that if you have it in your soul, nobody can stop you and you could succeed in no matter what you're.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But no, think about it.
Yes.
You know how many times people say to me, why are you doing that? You shouldn't donate. So I'm like, I don't do it because I'm just doing it because I don't know. I want to do it. I don't think people need to understand that.
It brings a lot of gratitude.
Yeah.
You're changing your community, but the gratitude that you generate for yourself, in healthcare, we talk about, giving is healing. Gratitude is healing. The act of giving, the act of helping your community will heal you.
It will.
So I think we should all challenge somebody out there. What can you do today? What can you do this week in your community to make a difference?
So let me tell you, when I found out about the word philanthropy, I didn't even know what it meant, but let me tell you how I found out about it. My father gave me a copy of a Town and Country magazine, and there were sections in it dedicated to these women who were raising millions of dollars for the Houston Symphony. But what was fascinating to me is these women were beautiful and they were in their ball gowns, and the word philanthropy was up there, and I said, I want to be that when I grow up, child. So I didn't stray far from the magazine, let me tell you. So that is how I learned about it. But I want to answer that question about who were your influences. First and foremost, I am my father's daughter. I am 1,000% programmed by my dad. I remember when my parents divorced, they stayed friends, but I said, Dad, if you and Mama divorced, it had to be her fault because it's not possible he did anything wrong. Love my daddy. So my first great mentor was my dad. But the person who most influenced me to be who you're looking at today is my grandmother. Mm-hmm. My grandmother was a kind, considerate, loving, gentle, beautiful soul, and she just had the ability to bring the best out in others. And I just looked at her in awe. So my dad for a part of it and my grandmother for a huge part of it. So
okay, well, we're down to the last minute and a half.
I can't believe it, child, because I got a lot to say about my fabulous
you
life.
You could continue on next episode. Next episode you can. So I would like thank you, Steve, and thank you, Reese.
Yes.
Give one last shout out. Any last thing you want to get out and a website?
Yes. So regarding mental health, please take care of yourself, but also remember to take care of each other. And so a phone number that you can call at Renown to seek help or just to ask general questions is 775-982-5419. And I also have to get a plug in for the new 988.
Yes.
Which is a 24/7 crisis hotline.
Can you call that from anywhere?
Anywhere, yes.
United States.
And it's also texting as well.
988. Okay. Reese, the last final, when it's done, it's done. It's all you.
If you want to get involved in your community, get involved. There's lots of nonprofits out there. If you want to help Renown Health Foundation and help Steve and provide more behavioral health care and addiction care in this community, reach out to us. Renown.org is the easiest way to get hold of us, or you can call us at 775-982-5545.
Okay. I love y'all. I thank y'all. I'm trying to do the accent. I promise I might do an accent. I'm really trying.
Get it close.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you say About Town Deb in an accent?
About Town Deb.
About Town Deb?
About Town Deb.
About Town Deb. Is that with an accent?
That was close.
About Town Deb signing out. City Talk with Yvonne and with Reese and with Steve. We will see you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
This podcast was a production of Angel Phoenix Productions. Explore more episodes of this show or other great shows on the Angel Phoenix Podcast Network by visiting angelphoenix.com. The views expressed in this show do not necessarily represent those of Angel Phoenix Productions or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.